You're still watching Arise News. You're seeing live pictures as the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, arrives in court for trial, specifically in New York City. The Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, was initially taken to a metropolitan detention center in New York after his abduction, what some are calling an abduction, during a U.S. raid on Caracas. U.S. President Donald Trump says that Washington will, quote, run Venezuela and tap its vast oil reserves without providing many details on how that will be done. As for Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Uruguay, they've denounced the U.S. suggestions of running Venezuela, warning against any outside control or appropriation of the country's resources.
That's right, Cynthia. Yeah. And, we're also learning that this is the Metropolitan, they transferred him from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn to the federal courthouse in Manhattan, and the judge that he's supposed to appear before is the U.S. District Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein. And they said it was supposed to be around 12 p.m. local time, but it looks like they're maybe running a little bit behind.
I'm sure, understandably. I'm pretty sure the court didn't even know that this might be happening because of how abruptly it happened. It came from nowhere, at least from outsiders' point of view. But of course, it's very clear that a lot of planning and thought went into this on the part of the United States president. Now, the First Lady, we know we can't forget her. She was also arrested or picked up. And we understand that, I think from what the reports we're getting, she might also appear in court soon. The United States abducted the couple on Saturday, so they've basically had the weekend spent the weekend in a detention center, and that's really what's going on.
And and speaking about the detention center, I've read a number of reports saying that this is the same one that Luigi Mangione was in. I think they also said that P. Diddy was also in this same detention center, and it doesn't have, the best reports in terms of upkeep. So just to get a sense of the setting that the president of it, or former president of Venezuela, is currently in at the moment.
Absolutely. But I think at the same time, people are wondering, those might not know what the charges might look like. The main charges that have been brought against Maduro and his identified associates relate to narco-terrorism and conspiracy to import cocaine. The offenses carry potential maximum sentences of life imprisonment under U.S. law. In the indictment, charges are on 4 counts of narco-terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. So those are the charges, and interestingly, these carry life imprisonment under U.S. law. I look forward to seeing how they're able to prove the jurisdiction issues that may arise if he was in Venezuela when these things occurred. I understand we've heard from some accounts saying that he gave his endorsement or facilitated all these happening from Venezuela to the United States in terms of the drug-related charges. But I think it's something that everyone in the world might be watching to see how this is playing out, because nobody actually saw this. Nobody might have thought that this could happen. We saw what happened in Panama in 1989, but to see this happen live, the power of social media, to be able to watch how a sitting president at the time is now an ousted president in the space of 3 days. And we also hear that there might have been collaboration from insiders who are close to the ousted president. So many elements. This is, of course, a developing story and quite symbolic. Of course, we know that the condemnations have come as well. I'm sure can you fill us in on that? Like those that have said that Trump is out of line with this.
I mean, more so, I think to that point, you touched on something really interesting, which is just how this has captivated the entire world and how it's been amplified by social media. I think we've very much seen people who are for this and against this. We've seen celebrations in different parts of the country, but we've also seen protests, including here in Nigeria. We had it on What's Trending this morning. So it's just interesting to see how he's a figure that, kind of creates a lot of different varying emotions depending on which side you fall. But yeah, this will definitely be an interesting story and trial to follow as it plays out, because like you said, it's really unprecedented to see something like this. And even though we know that President Trump is someone who will often kind of go ahead with moves and then speak about it after, this is still such a significant shift in the global world order, more so than just relations between Venezuela and the US, but this impacts everyone.
Absolutely. But for those that might not necessarily be upset by this, we've seen a lot of footage about Venezuelans who've been very emotional, saying that they're finally free from who they deem a dictator, calling his reign illegitimate, and the likes. But these also raise questions about the legitimacy of those who hold office. We know for at least what some deem a fact that Maduro went the extra mile to basically wipe out or deem the opposition non-existent. And when elections took place, it was more as though, like, who are you contesting against? Or who are you going head to head with? You emerge president, but what is the legitimacy of the seat that you occupy? And I was watching an analysis yesterday where we're talking about lessons that need to be learned, and how every leader in the world, even those that are on the continent of Africa, leaders that occupy seats where we're really renowned for sit-type leadership, that this is a time for reflection, for presidents to ask themselves, what is the legitimacy of my presidency? Did I really win this seat? Did I take this seat? And how am I performing? Am my attributes, or can people liken me to good governance? Am I making good on what my campaign promises are supposed to be? All right, we still have live pictures on screen as we wait for the ousted president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, to appear in court. And Anieze and I, we were talking about how this raises a question for those who occupy leadership seats to ask themselves, did I attain the seat on a legitimate basis? Or did I attain this seat by stealing an election? Or what am I also doing what I'm supposed to do as president? Am I doing the right thing? Because at the end of the day, why are some Venezuelans, or the footage they were seeing from Venezuelans, why are they talking about finally being free, as opposed to what should be the case of mourning or outrage if they were getting what they were supposed to be getting as citizens of Venezuela? So those are questions that other leaders, like I was saying, Anieze, African leaders are usually renowned for sit-tight rulership or presidency, if you want to call it that, which is one of the reasons that ECOWAS has come under scrutiny, saying that they're very quick to bite or bark when it comes to coups, military coups like we've seen in Mali and the likes, but they say little or nothing when we see tons of presidents extend their tenures by fiddling with the constitution. They're usually tight-lipped and say nothing. So it still raises a lot of questions. People might think that, this can happen somewhere, but it might not happen elsewhere. but it looks like the world's a global village. If a Venezuelan president is being tried on U.S. soil, then anything can really happen.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a good point. The fact that, whether we like President Trump or not, there is something about the way that he governs that makes other leaders sit up, whether it's through his economic policies, through tariffs, through his posts on social media. There's something to be said about the fact that he can say something, he can put it into action, and the ripple effects are international, they're global. We saw it happen here as well with, the airstrikes that were launched in Sokoto that were, at least to the public, unexpected. But President Trump has a way of essentially making people fall in line with the way he thinks the world should be. And I think that this is just really exemplary of that. Another report that I'm seeing now that broke within the last hour or so is Switzerland saying that they are freezing all assets linked to the Venezuelan ousted President Maduro after this arrest. And I think that will also be an interesting threat to watch, just how other countries kind of accept what has happened or choose not to accept what has happened. I know we saw that statement from Ghana condemning these actions, but I think how other countries, the EU, Asian countries, China as well, kind of react to what we're seeing play out on our screens, that will definitely be something to watch as
well. Absolutely. And in terms of surrounding countries, I really appreciate what you just mentioned now. But in terms of surrounding countries, I brought this up earlier on with our colleagues about Cuba taking a stance and saying and having a national day of mourning, saying that about 32 people were affected or lost their lives during the raid by the United States. We're waiting to see more updates on what might have transpired, but warnings have also been issued to the likes of Cuba and Mexico. You see what happened over there? Get in line, get in line. And it means it's different things to different people. This situation really shows how it's affected different people in various ways and different lessons that can be learned depending on what part of the world you're from and whose side you're on.
Absolutely.